Hi, Kate. It's Stephanie and Adrian from the How to Be a Redhead podcast. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat today.
Yes,
Yeah.
so let's get right into it. A question we like to ask all of our redheaded guests first. What was it like for you growing up as a redhead? Because we read you live in Canada, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what was your experience like with natural red hair as a kid?
So I think we can all agree that it's certainly unique. It's different from probably the typical kid. And you know what? Now that I'm an adult, I'm very thankful for it. When you're in the moment as a kid, it's not as fun. I think at
Hmm.
some point in your life, you are bullied for the color of your hair, which is too bad. But I think it created really thick skin for me and
Mm.
ultimately allowed me to do so many things like public speaking, like leading a team, like creating content on the internet because I take feedback and criticism really well now, and I have that thick skin because of it. So, in the moment, not so fun. There was definitely some tough days, grade 7, grade 8, all of that. But I'm super thankful now, and it stands out. It's very, brandable. People remember you more in a room. So I'm very happy to have it, and I'm really glad I never dyed it.
Yeah,
Wow.
so you never dyed your hair. Okay. So, and right now, have you ever, do you do anything to make it vibrant or is this your natural color?
This is the way it is. I get it from
Wow,
my
it's
dad.
beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I haven't touched it because some of my friends did in high school. They just had enough, so they dyed it blonde and they just
Same.
kept
I did
running with
that.
it. Yeah, it's hard to get back to what it once was. I've used that like 90s or 80s sun-in to like lighten it up when I was a
Yeah.
kid just to do something, but no, I haven't touched it and it saves me probably thousands of dollars a year now at the salon because I just leave it and it's really nice.
That's how I
Yeah,
feel
it is.
too. I've never dyed my hair, and it is something that I cherish in terms of what you just said. I know that I'm saving so much money, but I have been wondering too because I'm kind of going through the phase now where I'm going to be 37 this year, and I do have a little bit of whites that are coming in, like a little bit. And I know some people that we talk to say that they will never dye their hair. They are never, like, even when it goes all white, they're never going to dye. I'm personally going red till the end. So I was wondering,
Mhm.
what are you going to do? Have you thought about it?
I have thought about it. So I am 27, turning 28 soon, and I have a white patch coming in around here. It's hard to see, luckily, but it's definitely coming. And so I thought about that too. I'm like, geez, colorists are getting a lot better. I see a lot of people
Yeah.
turn into gingers in the fall. I'm like, this is
Yep.
fun.
It's always
It's
trending.
always trending, the copper cowboy, all of that. And I love it. I
Yeah.
think it's so cool that it's cool again. So I think I'm gonna be red till the end too. Like my grandma still dyes her hair red. It looks fantastic. So it's a big part of my identity. And I think to be
Hmm.
all gray, I think I would be very washed out because I'm especially pale. So I think I'm gonna rock it till the end too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am too. So your grandmother on what side was a redhead? Is that where you got your red hair from?
Yes, so both sides of my family are Irish, so I'm pretty
Okay.
much a redhead, but it's kind of split down the middle. So it all comes from my dad's side, who's a natural ginger as well. But my mom is a strawberry blonde, she's very blonde, and my sister has brunette hair, so it's kind of straight down the middle, the four of us.
Wow. And then when you're in Toronto, just out of curiosity, do you see a lot of redheads when you're walking around in the city?
Not a ton. Toronto is fantastic because it's diverse all around, but you don't get a
Right.
ton of redheads. So you definitely get some stares sometimes in your own city, which I know we all do at some point. But it's more
Mm-hmm.
so when I'm traveling where I feel like I'm really sticking out. I went to Ireland for the first time to sort of see where I'm from and all of that a few months
Oh,
ago, and that was
Cool.
fantastic. And that was so cool. I definitely felt more at home. But even so, I expected redheads everywhere, and there isn't as many as I thought. So we are definitely very rare.
Yeah,
that
I know,
is,
like
that's
even
so
in
true.
Ireland where there's such a huge population, and then Scotland, I think, has the highest. Yeah, recently I read an article. They did um, like a new poll or population on there are more redheads
In
in Scotland.
Scotland.
So curious to see if we ever venture to Scotland, Adrian,
Yeah.
if there are a lot of redheads,
Yeah. No, we'll
like when you're
definitely
walking
go.
down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so it's so interesting. I'm also really intrigued by when we've been to Ireland, how many people are actually very dark, like not dark hair, not dark skinned in terms of like it's such a diverse group that I was really loving that. I loved that Some people had black hair. Not everyone was Caucasian. I loved that it was so much more than the stereotype. It, to me, was super awesome. Stephanie, I don't know how many times we've been, 2 or 3 times, but I love it. I love it. I think it's such a cool country.
And it's beautiful. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure Kate, right? Like the greenery, and it's breathtaking. The different, especially if you go down to the coast.
Oh, yes. We did the full tour. So we spent 10 days and we went.
Oh, wow. So you saw it
I
all.
saw it
Yeah.
all. And that's where I got engaged, which was very exciting.
You got
Oh my gosh,
engaged? Oh,
congrats.
wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's
Were you expecting?
I was for a while. We've been together for 6 years, but then it just got to a point where I'm like, maybe we'll just be that couple that's just so in sync and we just don't need the marriage. So I thought maybe that was a possibility too. But
Yeah.
on our 6-year anniversary, he totally did it. And he did it at the cliffs of Moore, which is where my family is
wow.
from.
How romantic.
So romantic and so fantastic. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That is
That is
so
so
awesome.
great.
So, okay, so have you started wedding planning yet?
I am going to be like the worst bride ever because I just want to keep it easy and chill. As a kid,
Yeah.
I was wedding obsessed. I watched 4 weddings. I watched Say Yes to the Dress. Like I had it all planned. But now that I'm older and things are so much more expensive, I'm like, you know what?
Oh my
Keep
gosh.
it easy. Let's keep it simple. We're thinking about 60 folks and we'll do it fall 2025. So we're really close to picking a venue. And then from there, we can really pick everything else. But we're just going to keep it fun and simple and make sure everyone has a good time.
I love that.
I do too. I love that.
really, Adrian, how many people did you have at your wedding? Were there 20 of us?
I'm like anti-wedding. No, it's not that I'm anti-wedding. It's just that for me, I think that I've carried this on is that if there's one thing I can say, it really has to be right for you guys and it has to be right for the couple. And I think for some people who have dreamt of their wedding their whole life, or grooms who like have dreamt of this day and like it being this big party, I think then you should do it. If you're going to have regrets, then do it. But for me personally, like I didn't care to like host this party for everyone else. It just wasn't my thing. But I have to tell you that I love what we did. It was just very intimate, probably 20 people. And I have such fond memories. And my best friend told me that all she remembers from our day was that we were in love.
Oh.
And that made me feel so good because, you know, she's like, you see these weddings where like, when you first think of the wedding, you think stressed out bride, things go planning, hectic, people don't know where they're going. And all she remembered from that day, all these years ago, was just our love. And that made me feel so good. So
Yeah.
you have to just do what's right for you. You know, Stephanie I feel like you had a very intimate ceremony.
Yeah.
I know there were 150 people, but like,
No, we had 120.
yeah.
But it's really, I mean, my husband had like 15 best friends, and then they all had a +1. So that's 30 people. And then I had like a group of friends, 10 with their +1. So our wedding was like 80% friends, and then the rest were family. So we just couldn't, it's tough. It's not like you can say, okay, I'm going to invite all like 80% of your friends.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah,
It's
like
so
you can't
hard.
leave anyone out.
Yeah, like
But
I left out some really close family. I left out like Steph, like I left out some really close people. And I was just like, hey, like this is just the way it is at this time, at that point in my life. I do kind of regret that they didn't get to share that with me, but you know, whatever. They get to see us all the time, so it's fine.
Yeah, but you're going to realize that your day, it's, that it's your day to make, as Adrian said, however you, wedding, big, small, intimate, not, it's just so different with everyone. So, but I want to go back because I know that we will go into makeup and everything, because when I think wedding, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if you like being in beauty and everything, if you're already wheels turning on what am I gonna, like what's my makeup gonna look and dress and everything with fashion. But you, for our listeners who may not know, you had a high paying dream job. You walked away from it to do content creation. So what prompted you to turn over a new leaf, start this new chapter? Kind of scary for a lot of people listening, like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving my cushion, my safe net, and I'm venturing on to content creation. So walk us through how that happened. And congrats.
Thanks. Thanks. It was definitely a scary leap, but I'm so glad that I did it. I
Mm.
did the traditional route right out of school. I went to university for business. I did the 4 years. I got a good job in corporate and I just kept it going. And I thought, wow, this is it. This is the ultimate path. And like, I'm making my parents proud and perfect. But then I think I matured a bit too quickly. I didn't have like a discovery creativity phase. And so I found myself as our head of HR for 100, 200, 400, 600 person companies. And I would have teams of 5, 7. Like it just kept growing. And I'm not even 30 yet. And I just felt like, man, like I have so much responsibility and maturity and I have to take everything so seriously that I could feel it seeping into my personal life as well, where all I could think about was like
Mm.
compliance and following the rules. And that's not appropriate to say. And it was just crazy. So I knew I had to take a leap. And I was always on the creative side. I almost went to art school. It was between art school and business school, which is so different. But I decided to take the leap, and I found that when I was creating the content in the evenings with my corporate job, I had so much fun. But I thought it's too fun where I can't make a living from it. Like it was always that toss up where I was like, it's too cool. There's no way I can make money off of this. And then it just started to compound. And I realized, you know what? I think I can actually cover my rent if I really give this a good shot. So I had enough. I had burnt out and I was just like almost sick to my stomach going to work every day,
Mm.
which is
Mm.
wild. But a lot of people are in that
That
reality.
same position. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the economy. Like my parents are like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" But they were so supportive. I'm the only one in my
Yeah.
family that isn't an entrepreneur. So it was pretty funny me talking about my boss, like, "Okay, let's go on family vacation, but I have to ask my boss first." And they're all like, "Oh, so funny." But now I've joined the ranks. So it's been incredible. It's been 3 months now since I left. 3 months, pretty well exactly, and I am just overwhelmed by the success and the support, and just companies really just supporting me and seeing if they have opportunities to collab. And it's just been so fantastic. And ultimately, I'm making almost as much as I did in corporate, and I was willing to take like pennies, just to have fun for a while. So it's been wild so far, and I'm just going to try and hold on as long as I can because I wake up excited. Like I can't fall back asleep once I'm awake. So I'm like, let's go start the day. And it's such a good
That's when you
feeling.
know. That's
Yeah.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
That's so great. Well, congratulations with everything. We love following you. So, when we were scrolling through your TikTok today, we were talking about your skin. And I said to both Pam and Steph, I said, you have great skin. But we were reading that you have very reactive skin, and so do I. I've talked on this podcast for years now about my sensitivity. I will break out in a second if I don't keep to my skincare routine. So, can you tell us what your journey's been like with your highly reactive skin? What products work for you and what your routine looks like?
Yeah, I like since I can remember, I was the kid in class where if she got embarrassed or excited or mad or cold or hot, like she just got so flushed so quickly.
Same.
Like I'm flushed right now because I'm so excited talking to you guys. Like, look at all
Yeah,
the red.
no, no, no. That and I
Oh
start
my
to
gosh,
itch like on
Adrian
my
gets that.
arms.
And
Yeah.
then Adrian has to get out cortisone. She has a
Wait, you
cortisone
guys,
stick.
it's right next to me. At all times, I have my cortisone cream because I am just like you, Kate. I will break out in a second. And usually it's on my chest, my arms, and they get itchy. Do you itch?
I itch, yep, and I
Yeah.
get really hot. So I keep
Yep.
a cooling green tea mist at my
Oh,
desk.
I have one.
That.
I
Oh,
love the mist. It's so
nice.
cooling, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's funny what you deal with, but I just accepted that that's just the reality. Like I have thin, pale skin, and so when the blood comes up to the face, it gets red, and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. But there is definitely a lot of tricks, like the green tea mist, or I like to use an ice roller, so I keep that in the freezer when it's really
Mm.
hot, and I just really do that, and just general cooling products. So a few brands that I really admire are like La Roche Posay. They're a French
Hmm.
brand that's
Oh, love
fantastic.
them.
Yep, they're so good. Anything with like Cica in it, Cica is really good for redness. So there's a few different things that I've learned over the years, but ultimately I also just like to accept the fact that that's the way my skin wants to be, and I just sort of make a joke out of it if anyone's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually doing great."
And then what are some top skincare products that you couldn't live without? Like if you needed to pick three.
Oh, oh my gosh.
I know, it's so tough.
We should do a bathroom tour because it's like
Yeah.
wild. But top three would be Speaking of La Roche-Posay, their Cicaplast Balm just saves my skin no matter what it's going through. That's number one. Number two, I would say, is Aquaphor, which is a
Mm-hmm.
Vaseline type consistency, but it has healing properties in it. So whether it's a cut or a zit or anything, it's just fantastic.
I have to say, Aquaphor. I bought a huge tube like before. My son is 3, so when I was pregnant with him during the pandemic, I bought a huge tube. We still have it. It was like the one of the best purchases that I made in the past few years. We leave it downstairs and it's exactly what you said. I put it on if he gets a cut or if my husband needs it, I put it on my lips. I mean, it's just
Oh,
like
it's a
it's
great
become
like
kind
it's a
of
great eye
our
cream too at
household.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, slugging,
Yeah.
slugging was like so popular with Vaseline and some, yeah, Aquaphor, but it's a game changer. Sometimes I meet people and a friend down the street, I mentioned Aquaphor, and she's like, "Oh, I've never tried that." It's like you didn't grow up with. I mean, we grew up with Vicks. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's like a New England. Did you grow up with Vicks?
Yep, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you put it all over your chest and your lips. I don't think you're supposed to put it on your lips, but yes, Aquaphor is a game changer. And then okay, so you were gonna, and then what's your third one?
Okay, third, I would have to say is I think they're also French. Don't quote me, but it's called Vichy, and they have a
Mm.
hyaluronic acid called Mineral 89, and that's
Yeah,
just fantastic too.
Oh,
yeah. Do you notice
good
such a
good
big
picks.
difference with your skin after using a hyaluronic acid?
I do. I like to do this thing
Yeah.
called skin flooding, where you sort of layer as much hydration on your skin that it'll take. So you go from very thin, watery products all the way up to like a thick, thick cream, and it'll just sort of sink
Mm.
in that layer. And my skin loves it so much.
Redheads, have you heard?
We aired on ABC's Shark Tank, episode 14, season 15. We are busy developing products and continuing to grow this incredible redhead lifestyle brand.
Check out our mascara and eyebrow products in red hot shades, hair care, merch, lifestyle items, and so much more. Redheads, we can now rejoice.
Finally, there are products for us.
Use code podcast to get 15% off your next purchase. Shop at shop.howtobearedhead.com.
How about sunburns? Did you get a lot of sunburns as a child?
I did. My parents were really good. Like they didn't grow up with sunscreen, so it was new to them, but they were really diligent that I always wore it until I hit about
That's nice.
13 or 14 where I got to go swimming by myself with my friends who were very tan.
Oh,
So I didn't wear the sunscreen. I was going to keep up with them. I wanted a tan. And so I think that's
Yep.
why I got into skincare because I looked in the mirror 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and I was like, wow, my skin is not happy. It looks very like aged and just weathered for 25. And so I decided to get into it and I've just been able to repair it so much. I was at the doctor yesterday and she's like, "What are you doing to your skin cuz you just look so much better." So it's working and I'm glad that I now wear my sunscreen every single day.
Yeah, and so you've tested over 50 sunscreens, including a whipped cream
I saw
sunscreen,
that video today. Yeah.
which is so cool. So share with us your wisdom. And if a listener's like, oh my gosh, because it's always so hit or miss with different sunscreens. And obviously, there's a difference between mineral and chemical.
Mhm.
We're constantly educating our readers on our website the difference and the importance. And we've talked to dermatologists, we've had them on numerous podcast episodes in the past about which sunscreens they recommend, but love to know some of your favorites. And then also we can go into detail the UV camera you've been using during testing, which is so cool. I saw one of your videos recently and it was like it's so cool to see that the UV, like all your freckles.
Yeah. Yeah, they come out
And also
to
scary. And also scary. Like, what
And
is the
also
sun
scary.
doing to my skin?
I
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
I know,
Scary,
because
yeah.
people were like, "Oh, you don't have any freckles on your face," and I used to have a ton, but I think over time with skincare, the vitamin C's and the retinols start to
It faded them a little
my
bit.
hands and my arms still have them all, so it just
Okay.
interesting. But yes, they definitely come out in the UV camera, and I think if I had to test one skincare product for the rest of my life, it would be sunscreens because they're all so different. There's some that
Mm-hmm.
are awful, and there's some that I will happily use till the day I die. So I would say starting with the ones that are awful. There's a lot that the companies are upgrading each year. So they'll sort of say goodbye to the old models and they'll bring out new ones. And I think every country is getting better. But me
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I was used to that thick paste. It was almost like liquid chalk. And I
Yeah.
just had to like put it on and you could just see you were white as a ghost. And I always tell my viewers when I test it, if we can see it's white on my very pale skin, this is not shading.
Not,
Like this is going to
yeah.
work. So I get a lot of those, but I think generally brands are getting better. Typically, a physical or a mineral sunscreen will have that white cast, but brands are like, I don't know the science behind it, but they're getting better.
They're getting better.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I test them all for sure. And I would say that the only bust that I found, which was surprising with that UV camera, was an oil sunscreen out of Europe. I don't think it's in North America, which is probably for the best.
Oh, okay.
Shake it up to mix the oil in the water and you spray it all over your body. And I thought, great, for someone with dry skin, the oil will be perfect.
Mm.
However, when I tested it under the UV camera, it was so inconsistent. So you'd see like splotches of the sunscreen and the oils.
No
It
way.
wasn't an even coverage. So you might get a burn where there's like spots everywhere. So I was like, oh God.
Oh,
So that's not good. But overall, the UV camera does help. I just bought it online. I think there's tons now. It's like this big, and you plug it into the bottom of your phone, and you download an app where it shows just you as is, and then you under that UV camera. And it's so cool because even though it doesn't tell you the level of coverage, it tells you the evenness. So you can make sure you're not missing any spots and things like
that's
that.
awesome.
It's been so fun. And
That is really, really cool.
yeah, people love like I'll review a sunscreen, and if I don't put in the UV footage, they're like, "Oh no, we want to see that too." So it's good to check. And a lot of people think it's fake, which is hilarious. They think that I'm putting some weird filter on to show like a fake sunscreen cover. Like, I don't know. They're like, "Oh, nice try. We can see that your hair is different in this one angle." I'm like, I don't have the time to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, right, right. So, I'm interested. Well, I guess I was thinking about because you're in Canada.
Mhm.
Is there a difference with certain laws and regulations in Canada when it comes to sunscreen as opposed to where in the
I
US?
would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because whenever I go down to the border, I go to Buffalo to shop at Target and Ulta, all these places that we don't have. I load up on the sunscreen because even though it's not wildly different, there is a lot of sunscreens that just haven't gone through the approval process in Canada. It's very
Okay.
extensive, and a lot of brands do get
Mhm.
denied for one reason or the other, so a lot just don't even bother.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we
Wow.
deal with that sometimes with our product development. Luckily, everything that we have so far can be sold in Canada, but I know that there's
Yeah.
like so much red tape
So
when
different when it
so
comes to
different.
over-the-counter sunscreen.
Yeah, it's wild. Which I mean, it's sure it's for the best. We want to make sure that we are
Yeah.
protecting our skin, but I do find myself buying a lot from Korea as well. I love the Korean chemical sunscreen too. I like to play with
Yeah.
that.
They're great. They're great.
Same.
Now, how about makeup? So your eyebrows are naturally blonde.
Mhm.
How do you get them to match your hair color? And then like lash products, what's your kind of go-to?
And I
Yeah,
think we saw
so
your microblading.
yeah,
No?
yeah, I do it again
Yeah.
recently, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, I grew up with blonde brows and lashes, so nothing there. And in high school, I wore black mascara and no brows. And it was quite the look. I feel like now it's like
I think we did the same, or we like over plucked or over threaded. So our eyebrows were like super, super, super thin,
yeah,
and then like stick straight lashes because we didn't know how to use an eyelash curler. It was just a mess.
it's all about progress. But at least we're not looking back and saying, "Man, I don't know what I did, but it was good, and I miss it." So at least we're progressing. But
Yeah, we're like, oh, I don't want to ever do that again.
no, so I've over time found products that work for me, and I feel like there's just this huge uptick in more inclusive shading around, the eyebrow products with the auburn and with the mascara. But How to Be a Redhead's products was the first true brown auburn mascara that I tried. The close I could get was like brownish black, I think they had at the drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was sent your products, I'm like, oh, this is a game changer. You will never catch me wearing black mascara again. I felt like it just like complemented my tone much more. And I'm actually
Yeah.
wearing it today. I love it. And so
Oh,
it's my
Oh, we're so
favorite.
happy.
It's
Have you
so
tried
good.
our new enhancing versions?
No, I
We
haven't.
have a new brush, and
Oh,
the other one's Hourglass. This is enhancing, but we'll have to send them to you. We have them in different shades.
Nice.
We have them in chestnut and auburn, and then we're on pre-order for our plum and our other
Mhm.
perfectly brown. But whatever, we'll send them all to you,
Yeah.
just so you can try them and enjoy them. And we have some lipsticks that are coming out, so we'll have to send you everything because I feel like since your last package, we've come out with some new stuff, so we should send them to you.
Amazing. I
Hmm.
would love that. A lot of my audience does have a similar complexion to me. So they're always asking, I get things that are too dark, they don't match, what works. So I'm excited. That'll be fun. So, yes, those products have been a miracle for me, and it's just opened so many doors. And I did get my eyebrows done. I decided to get nano brows, they call them, so that it's much more gentle than
Oh,
microblading. Yeah, apparently, microblading it is like a blade that sort of cuts your
Yeah.
face open and
yeah,
deposits.
right.
Sounds horribly painful, but I decided to do the nano brows, which was a lot less painful and just more subtle. And I was so impressed. I wanted to do it for years because it's just nice to wake up and get going.
Yeah.
Um, but
Hmm.
I said, there's no way someone's going to be able to match my pigment. There's just no way. And this woman said, no, I use a technology that scans your hair, it scans your skin, and it scans your brows already, and it
Wow.
mixes the I
Whoa,
know, and in Toronto
that's
too. We get
cool.
nothing in Canada, so I was like, "Okay, I'm sold," and I'm so impressed. It lasts 1 to 3 years, but I just love it. I love that it
That's a long
I
time.
know, I know, so I'm really enjoying it.
That's
Wow.
nice because then for your big day for your wedding, you don't really have to think about your brows.
No, they're
Do
just
you have
done.
a date? Do you have a date on?
Not an exact date, but fall 2025. We're gonna
Okay.
do some site visits for a few venues, maybe this month, so we're getting there.
Okay, that's so
Yay.
great
That's
because we'd love to talk more about just what do you have any ideas on what you're doing for your bridal hair and makeup? Is it too early? Do you have plans? Like, do you want to go natural? You think you want to do something different?
Yeah. So for the like in general, I want the vibe of like a sort of Celtic, like Irish vibe. So kind of like windswept and natural. Like I don't want glamour. I don't want any of that. It's going to be weather depending outside in a forest. Very Canadian, Irish. Would love that.
Wow,
I'm
beautiful
excited.
photos.
that sounds
It's going to
so
be really pretty
stunning.
with the photos. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. So very like drapey dress, extra fabric, maybe long sleeved. For hair, we'll figure that out. Probably down in some form, maybe a braid a bit back or something. I'm not too concerned
Yeah.
about the hair. I think that'll be fine. Makeup, I'm a little nervous because I've gotten my makeup done professionally before, and sometimes it just doesn't work for my coloring. They've just never worked with a redhead before. Sometimes they crush it, but it's still too much to me. Like I'd rather opt for like, oh, it's Kate. It's obviously Kate. Like even if it's the same face, I see people go for the full glamour on their wedding day and they regret it. So I'm trying to find that balance, and I don't know if I'm ever brave enough to do it myself, but I might. I might do a little series on TikTok where I'm just exploring my own wedding makeup.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should. And then, I mean, you could find a makeup artist that has worked on redheads if
Yeah.
they feature redheads, right? Like on their Instagram or their TikTok. Or I did airbrushing. I got married 8 years ago, so I don't know if airbrushing is still popular, but I liked it because I didn't feel like I was wearing foundation.
Mhm.
And it was a June wedding in New England, so the weather wasn't super, super hot. But I really liked that because I didn't get a spray tan. I embraced my so I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I had a spray tan plus makeup on. But I remember she just put like a moisturizer on my skin and then just did one coat. And I felt very like kind of what you said, like I wanted a natural look. Like she didn't contour heavily. I went for like a very like basic or like a very natural lip, and the only thing I did was I did eyelash extensions. So that was kind of but very like effortless, but you could look into airbrushing again. I don't know if it's this was years ago, so I don't know if it's still popular, but or you could do it yourself. Yeah, why not? I mean, you're so knowledgeable on beauty and what like works for your skin.
Yeah, I'll do a few trial and errors. Like, I think I'm really excited to kick up the wedding content because I love watching people go try on dresses and do their trials.
Yeah, it's
So
fun.
I'm excited to do a whole series. So I'll definitely test with a few artists, but I'll try myself too. My friend just got married and she did it all herself and she looked fantastic. So it's inspirational for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say your gift card roulette is really cool. I was looking at some of your videos. It's so
Steph
do
said she
you
couldn't
okay,
do it. Steph, you were like, I
wait,
couldn't do
no,
it.
But wait, you don't know what's on the amount.
No, I had it.
So like I saw your Lululemon one. That would give me anxiety. I mean, we were talking about it beforehand with Pam, our producer, and I was like, okay, if you're getting a gift card as a Christmas gift or a birthday gift for like Lululemon, for example,
Mhm.
everyone's different. You hope that someone wouldn't give you like a $10 gift card. I mean, everyone's different. So but since you don't know the amount, that would stress me out when I walk up to the counter if I have like hundreds of dollars worth of clothes and then the gift they ring up the gift card saying $50.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, has that happened to you?
Yeah, there's definitely been some where I never expect anything, and I think that's the way I can get away with it, is I have to get in a mindset
Okay,
of, oh,
you never expect.
yeah, I
Okay.
just want pants from Lululemon, so let's go buy them. Oh, I have the gift card, let's make a video. But if I'm
Okay.
actively going out and being like, okay, I need a new episode, let's go to Sport Check and let's like figure something out, that would get me in trouble for sure. So it's just I need to buy something anyways. I've done grocery ones, so it's been fine. But yes, there's definitely been some where I guess I used it before and I didn't realize, and I threw it back in the pile, so it was a big fat zero. But I meant to buy that thing anyways, so it's
Okay.
bad.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like if you really needed that item.
Mhm.
And then from our social research, it looks like you talk about being plus size and women's sizings not being accurate.
Right.
We'd love to hear more about that. And then how do you deal with internet trolls? It's just something that unfortunately is there,
Mhm.
they're there. How do you personally deal with that?
Yeah, so I am plus size, and I guess I have an unconventional body type where I am 5'11", almost 6 foot tall. I just have broad shoulders. I've always been plus size. I've been 100 pounds lighter, and I was still plus size. So I think a lot of people get confused with that,
Mm.
where you can just be a big woman and
Hmm.
plus size clothing. And so I guess my weight is distributed. I'm 265 pounds and people don't believe me. And it's just a funny back and forth where people get really worked up about it. But it's like, I don't know.
Like they'll comment?
Oh yeah, they'll get really worked up and say, "Don't call yourself plus size like I am. You're not plus size." So I'll just retaliate by going and buying my plus size clothes that fit perfectly. Like, and I'll try on like a little like large shirt, and there's no way it's gonna fit me. So I balance it with humor, and yeah,
Yeah.
just no matter what, like I could wear a purple shirt one day, and someone's mad that I wore purple for some reason. Like you'll never win. And with all the hate comments, I think growing up as a redhead, it really helped. Like I was just used to that initial hate and I grew really thick
Hmm.
skin. And
And the attention. Yeah.
the attention, yeah, I don't mind the attention. And I just realized, the people that take time out of their day to spread that negativity, to actually type it out and
I know.
spend
I know.
their day to do that. Some
And to
people
actually think about it in their
wow.
actual like brain during like how
And
yeah,
you live this one precious life. I
Oh, it's
always like you live one precious life. You're only on this planet for so long. And that's
mhm.
how you decided to spend 1 minute of it. I feel bad for them.
I
That's
do
how I think
too,
about it.
because in reality, when I think of like the people I look up to, those like super attractive, successful, amazing people, they are not spending their day writing little hate comments. They're out there
No.
attracting the energy that they deserve. And the people that are
yes.
online doing that, they're not the people I care about. They're not the people I look up to. They can say whatever they want because ultimately, like, their opinion just doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, yeah. And I loved what you said earlier, the humor. Like you need to kind of have humor whether you comment back at someone or maybe you just personally look at it and you're like, "Oh my God," like you get a little chuckle out of it.
Yeah.
And you just have to brush it off because yeah, at the end of the day, that person who left that comment's probably going through something that they just want to bring people down around them.
I was
But yeah,
wondering, sorry, Steph. I was wondering how she feels about the term plus size. I just feel like with it being 2024, like, can we just come up with like a better positive word that's like perfect size or like, I don't know, just,
yeah.
I don't know why the word plus to me is just making it seem as if it's not adequate. I don't know. I'm just like, I just don't like certain terms or certain, I know there's really, that's just the way society is and they're going to say plus size, but I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with it. I guess when people are like, well, I'm plus, I don't know. I just want there to be more positivity around the fact that people are who they are and just let them be instead of like putting them into a box of like, this is where you are. I don't know. How do you feel about that term?
Yeah, it's true though, because the one video that I made where I just retaliated and said, "Oh, okay, I'm not plus size. Let's go try on a bunch of clothes and see what happens." It sparked a huge conversation because there was a lot of confusion around, well, where does plus size start and why are you
Mm,
plus size but I'm not? And like it's just so confusing, and it's not really something that the men's fashion side deals with. They just have their
I know. It's so
size
true.
throughout. So
hmm.
I like the term extended sizing sometimes because that
Oh,
means they've extended the range on both sides. So
oh, I like
that's a
that.
double zero. She's very small and where it
Yeah.
fits, but we can go to a place with extended sizing and it just breaks sort of the
Love
barrier
that.
of what
That's a much better term than
I
plus size.
love
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Extended.
I like
yeah.
extended.
Yeah. And speaking of clothes, I have to say, when I was scrolling your, I think it was Instagram, you look very beautiful in lilac.
Oh, thank you. I
I saw you had like a headband lilac and a robe.
thanks.
It's like one of my favorite colors, but I was like, oh my gosh, I think, as redheads, we talk about this, Adrian and I, a lot, where like a lot of redheads write in, they're like, oh, I can't wear a bright color, or
Mm.
I'm afraid to wear a color because my hair is already so bright, or society has said, oh my gosh, you can't wear red and you can't wear this and embrace only this color palette when you're a redhead. So I love though when I saw purple because I'm like, redheads can wear any color.
Yeah, I agree. I was always strong on that. Growing up, people always were quick to tell me what was and wasn't my color, even though I'm going to wear the color I want because it makes me
Yeah.
happy. I'll never forget I had a gym teacher in grade like 10 or 11, and I had the most fun winter coat that was like the color of your shirt, Stephanie, and it made me so happy. And the gym teacher came by and said, "Wow, that is not your color." And I just snapped back instantly
The
and said,
gym teacher said that.
she was a bit of
As if he or she knows. Yeah.
she was a bit of a piece of work, but
Yeah.
I just snapped back instantly and said, "Yet here I am wearing it every day. Crazy." So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And like, I love it.
yeah, it's wild what people will, assume or think or quick to say, but whatever I gravitate towards and whatever like gives me a bit of butterflies when I see it on the rack, I'm going to wear it, and that's just
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I went to a store a couple weeks ago and there was a shirt that I just like gravitated
yeah.
towards. And that's I think, I do a lot of online shopping and sometimes it's just physically seeing it and touching it. There's something so different than actually like online shopping for clothes.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, I totally can understand what you mean when you see something and it's like a certain color or a certain pattern, you're like, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun wedding dress shopping.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm very excited. I have sort of an idea in my head, but it'll be interesting in the plus size part as well. Like maybe I'll do custom where it just fits perfectly, maybe I can buy it off the
Mm,
rack. So it'll be a fun adventure either way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think
And
so
then
too.
last, so to wrap up, because I feel like we could talk about beauty for a very long time and going into fashion, is do you have some favorite stores and favorite styles in terms of wardrobe?
Yeah, I've had to get creative just because unfortunately walking into a mall, most stores just don't have what I need, but there is
Mm.
still a few. Places like Old Navy, Abercrombie, those are great ones.
Abercrombie has
A
like
comeback.
made a little bit of a comeback.
I
Hmm.
know. Because growing up, they were like pretty against my size. They were not cool.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
They're coming back.
No, it was Abercrombie and Adrian worked at Hollister for a hot
I
second.
did back in high school days. Are they still popular?
I mean, maybe with the younger crowd,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
cannot fit in it. I used to try and keep up because all my friends were Hollister. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in. And I would buy everything from the men's section and make it work because that was all that fit me.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, I
Hopefully
think
they're
I don't
not.
know.
Hopefully they're more inclusive now.
I was gonna say, yeah, hopefully, because has Abercrombie become more inclusive?
They have, yes. So they have a
Oh,
full
good.
plus size line now. I just find like they've leveled up with their quality. Their jeans fit me just fine. So they're actually really becoming a great company.
That's awesome. I know
That's
someone.
great.
My husband and I were out a few weeks ago, and I was talking to someone, and they were like, "Oh my God, all my basics, ironically, are all from Abercrombie." I was like, "How funny is that?" So then I ended up going on Abercrombie, and there were so many things that I loved. I mean, I feel like they had a lot of hot pink stuff, which I was like, I'm channeling bright colors um, as we go into the season. So yeah, they've like back 5 years ago. I don't think we would have said Abercrombie. Who
Mm-mm.
knows?
Mm.
No. I definitely don't think so. Well, Kate, it was so awesome to talk to you. So great. We're going to be following your wedding journey and just all of your content in general. And we can't
Yay!
wait for you to try the other mascaras and stuff. We'll send you everything. And yeah, just so great to connect. We just love this platform to be able to, how else could we have this conversation with you or someone, it's just so great. So thank you for your time and for coming on.
Yes, great to finally meet you both. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to staying in touch.